You're listening to the Outer Banks This Week podcast, a place for people to hear what's going on up and down the beach and get the truth about what really goes on around the Outer Banks. So here we go.
Thank you so much, Lexi. Outer Banks This Week podcast, episode number 104, all brought to you by Outer Banks Pest Control. If you got any of those nasty varmints, those creepy crawlies, those critters that are just being a pain in your, well, you know what, Outer Banks Pest Control would love to treat them to a nice dirt nap. Maybe not necessarily like that, but they would love to assist you in getting rid of said varmints, vermin, creepy crawlies, and critters. They would love to help you get them where they need to be, that's away from your house, your business, wherever the case may be. They want to help over at Outer Banks Pest Control. They're the best in the biz on the Outer Banks when it comes to that type of work, that type of extermination, that type of relocation of critters. They want to help. Go online at outerbanks-pestcontrol.com, and it's all powered by Kelly's Automotive in Manteo. If it has doors, it can be yours at Kelly's Automotive, online at kellysobxauto.com. Kelly's been posting a lot of videos on his social media here lately, and they are absolutely hilarious. So if you get a chance to check out Kelly on his social media, please do so. He's quite the character. He's kind of like another one of me, but better looking and smarter. Anyway, kellysobxauto.com. So I need to talk a little bit about the weather situation from last week. And if you remember, I recorded the podcast last Tuesday. What was the date of last Tuesday? I can't even remember right now. It wasn't Valentine's. I can't remember. But anyway, and I said, they're talking about snow over the next few days. And I prayed. I was like, Lord, please don't let it snow. Well, I wasn't super specific with my prayer. And, in church, they tell you to be specific with your prayer. And he answered my prayer. It did not snow at my house in Wanchese. But up the beach in Kitty Hawk and even the northern part of Roanoke Island up at the north end of Manteo, they got snow. And again, the further north you went, the more inches in accumulation you saw, and it caused school to be canceled Wednesday and Thursday and a 2-hour delay on Friday. So the next time there's a potential for snow, I'm going to pray that school not be canceled and that the snow doesn't pile up or that there is no snow at all. So again, I was specific with my prayer. I was not specific with my prayer, excuse me. So next time I'm going to be a little bit more specific. With all that being said, I am so ready for warmer weather. I'm going to go on and say, I'm going to go on record for saying that this has probably been one of the coldest winters we've had in a while. At least 5 years. Maybe 6. But it's been cold. Today, I'm recording on a Tuesday. The highs are in the mid-50s. I'm looking for it to get back into the 60s. I want spring to hurry up and get here. I don't care what that idiot groundhog said in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. I'm ready for warm weather, okay? I think I speak for a lot of people when I say we're ready for warmer weather. Baseball season is here. The kids are practicing. I went to a ball game just the other day. I'll talk about that in just a few moments, but the warm weather is definitely necessary for these different outdoor activities that we all want to participate in. And speaking of activities and events, I'll talk about that a little bit later. Coming up in this podcast, though, I've got a gentleman by the name of Greg Smerdell. Now, I introduced him, I don't know, back in the fall, and I brought him in to talk on the podcast about all the different things that he is involved in when it comes. He writes books, he does stand-up comedy, he hosts trivia nights. He also does a Manteo downtown walking tour, okay? And he talks about a lot of different things. He's going to be coming in here in just a few moments to talk about that specific tour and the where they go, how long it is. I got a bunch of questions I'm going to run through him, and he's also going to talk about, along with that, some of the different other activities he's got coming up. He's got some comedy nights coming up. Looking forward to having him come in and talk to us. I do want to thank Joel from The Rec for coming in last week and talking about events, noteworthy events coming up in 2025. There are a good handful each month that are already on the calendar that you want to go ahead and mark. So if you get a chance to go back, listen to episode 103, you can hear those events in their entirety and in detail. It's one thing Joel is really, really good about is being able to put all that stuff down like that. So thank him again for coming in and being on the podcast with me to talk about those things. Let's see what else. News. There's not really anything newsworthy that's kind of hitting me right now. I did see, okay, this is kind of newsworthy. All right, let's talk about this real quick. I noticed there was like the USS United States or something was spotted coming by, like the Cape Hatteras Motel posted these photographs of it being towed past our coast. And I was looking at these pictures, and I maybe I'm probably in the minority for saying what I'm about to say, but they looked AI generated. Just the way the clouds, the mist, the boat itself, the waves, the fog, the way it was over top of the water. If you look at these photographs, if you go to Cape Hatteras Motel's Facebook page, they're up there, and I believe the Outer Banks Voice shared them and a couple of other media outlets, but they look AI. It looks like AI generated photographs. If you've ever seen an AI photograph, artificial intelligence, artificially created, whatever, they look fake. They don't look real to me. Like, I was looking at them, and I don't know how you can tell the two apart. I mean, it was either a super awesome photographer that took the pictures, or it's an AI generated thing and it's just blown up on social media. I mean, Sam Walker picked it up. So to me, that lends it some credibility. Okay. They look AI generated to me, but again, Sam Walker picked it up and shared it. And again, that speaks to me because Sam is legit. He is the answer when it comes to the news on the Outer Banks. If you've got questions about the news, Sam Walker is the answer. So SamWalkerOBXNews.com. I'm still a little skeptical, but Sam Walker sharing it and speaking on its behalf lends it some credibility. So I'll just trust that those were real photographs. So go check them out at SamWalkerOBXNews.com. That's the only newsworthy thing I can really, really think of that's just jumping off the headlines at me right now. Captain Marty, hey, we're getting ready to do another one of his Saturday shows his Other Side of Fishing shows this coming Saturday. There we go. I said it right. And we're going to launch that. I'm not 100%. He's getting it all lined up right now. I don't know exactly who the guest is going to be. I think I know, but I don't want to speak too soon. Okay. I don't want to say ahead of time. He's getting that all situated so we can record that on Friday to go out on Saturday morning. It's Cap Marty's Other Side of Fishing. It's all brought to you by Red Drum Tackle in Buxton, the closest tackle shop to the point. Red Drum Tackle, fantastic folks there between Kara and Mr. Anthony and a few of the others down there. They would love to help you get situated to go fishing. And it's all powered by Radcliffe Marine in Belhaven, the largest repower center in all of Northeast North Carolina, and online at radcliffemarine.com. Ricky Radcliffe and that whole crowd there, they're phenomenal. They're wonderful, good, God-fearing people. And can't say enough great things about Radcliffe Marine in Belhaven. So we're thankful to have them as presenting and powered by sponsors for Captain Marty Other Side of Fishing show. All right, I'm taking a quick break. Going to jump into some shout outs here in just a few. But first, hey, listen, my brother-in-law, Mike at Master Heating and Cooling in Kitty Hawk. Hey, if you are looking for some work, whether you're looking for an apprenticeship, whether if you're a master HVAC technician, they would love to have you come aboard and work for them at Master Heating and Cooling. Tony and Susan, the owners, are wonderful people. Think the world of them. And of course, my brother-in-law, Mike, he's there and he is ready to assist. So, hey, why have me explain it to you? I'm going to let Mike explain it to you in his own words right now.
Master Heating and Cooling, your Lennox dealer of the Outer Banks, is now hiring. Qualified service technicians and experienced installers are needed. We are an OBX family-owned and operated full-service HVAC company with 35 years experience supporting our community with their heating and cooling needs. Join our team of professionals and earn competitive pay, benefits package, and performance-based bonuses. Call today 252-255-0095 or please visit us online at masterhvac.net/contact us.
Yes, online at masterhvac.net. They would love to have you on their team. All right, we're going to jump into some shout outs. And again, hey, if you're a listener to the podcast, email me, Justin at OuterBanksThisWeek.com. Justin at OuterBanksThisWeek.com. I would love to give you a shout out. I'd love to say, hey, I'd love to give somebody a shout out on your behalf. You want me to say hello to someone for you? Would love to do it. If you have any ideas for an episode, if you have anything, any comments, questions, concerns, you want to scream and cuss me out in an email, I may not necessarily, I might beep it all out, but I'll read it back on the podcast. I haven't had that happen yet, but I'm sure it's going to. So again, Justin at OuterBanksThisWeek.com. I want to shout out first to Manteo High School baseball team. I went out there. They had their black and gold day this past Saturday, and it was kind of like an open house type thing for people, to kids and parents and families and supporters of Manteo High School baseball to come out and see what they're doing and watch them practice and stuff like that. I actually was able to take batting practice on the field. The first time I've done that in over 20 years. And let me tell you something, your guy, he's still got it, all right? I could still out-hit all those little jerks at the high school. Well, maybe not all of them. And they're not little jerks. Let me retract that statement. But I was able to go out there and take batting practice. That was really, really cool, really fun. The Sawyer boys of Wanchese, they had a bat they let me use. Love those guys. Great role models, those three boys. You got Landon Sawyer, Trevor Sawyer, and Tanner Sawyer. Parents, wonderful parents. Those kids are great role models for the community. Thankful that they allowed me to use their bat. I'm thankful for the example that they set for the kids. I could cry thinking about it. I'm not even going to lie. I'm going way off in left field right now. But yeah, Manteo High School baseball, and they actually won their game against Perquimans just the other night. So we'll see what they're going to do this year. I want to shout out to my guy, Chris Murphy. Emailed me, hey man, Justin, thank you for sharing all the different types of events that are going on. He wants me to make sure that I get them on the Outer Banks This Week calendar. I'm going to do my best to get them on the calendar. And he was talking about whenever we decide to have a podcast party, try to line that up to be done at Fish Heads, hopefully in the near future. When I say near future, I'm talking about in the spring when it warms up, maybe like May-ish before Memorial Day or something. We'll get that lined up. I got to talk to Gary and all them over at Fish Heads, make sure they're cool with it. But definitely, Mr. Murphy, as soon as I know what's going on there, you, my friend, will know. And last but not least, I want to shout out to my guy, Clint Godwin at the Clint Godwin Agency at Dare County Farm Bureau in Manteo. Home Life Auto. He is ready to assist you in those things. They've been in business for over 60 years. They got generational insurance, and he's constantly, I see this guy everywhere now. I met Clint at the gym at Roanoke Island Fitness Lab a long time ago. A couple years ago, say a long time. It's been a few years. Didn't realize who he was, know a whole lot about him. I just knew he was a high energy, in your face, go getter kind of guy. And I mean, he and I just kind of stuck to each other. We were stuck like glue, Then come to find out, he's running the Dare County Farm Bureau office here in Manteo, and he is ready to assist you with Home Life Auto, whatever your needs are. So you can check him out. Farm Bureau, just type in Dare County Farm Bureau in Google and he'll get you squared away. And why am I still talking about this? You know what? I'm going to give you all the deets about Dare County Farm Bureau right now. Clint Godwin, your local Farm Bureau insurance agent in Manteo, can help you find the right insurance coverage for your needs. Whether it be home, car, life, or health insurance, Clint will go to work for you to make sure that you're well taken care of. Trust me, I know from personal experience. Call Clint today at 473-2119 or swing by and pay him a visit at his office in Manteo. He'd love to see you. Clint Godwin, your local Farm Bureau insurance agent that's ready to go to work for you. All right, back by popular demand. And he'll say only under the demand of himself, but
That's right. Nobody asked for me back except me.
Mr. Greg Smerdell, everybody. Woo! What's going on?
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, look, I'm glad to have you back. Glad to have you on the first time because I wanted people to know like how many different things and how involved you are with the community and how you wear many different hats. And I brought you back in here today to talk about one of these specific hats. Now, coming up, somewhat mid-March.
March 18th.
March 18th.
Day after St. Patrick's Day.
Your walking tour is, you're going to start walking again.
We are, yeah. So we do the Manteo walking tour, and that's the website, by the way, ManteoWalkingTour.com.
Okay.
We do it Monday through Friday, 10 in the morning. And it's basically it's a tour, as I say, through downtown and along the waterfront in Manteo.
Okay.
But we don't just talk just about Manteo. We talk about Wanchese. We talk about Nag's Head, Kill Devil Hills, Kitty Hawk. Talk an awful lot about Buffalo City, too, over on mainland Dare County. But we cover the history. But it's not like, it's not like Professor Greg's going to give us dry, dusty history, tidbits. No, we make it fun. We make it entertaining. It's even funny. I mean, I use my stand-up comedy background in the tours itself. So we make it fun. And we have contests. I'll pit family against family. I'll pit state against state and ask them trivia questions to see who can get it right, who's smarter, who's dumber, that kind of thing. So we make it a lot of fun and it's engaging. It's not just me regurgitating facts at you. It's involving you in the process.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
So you're getting ready to start things up on March the 18th.
Yeah.
Now, how late in the year do you normally do these tours?
I generally take it to about Thanksgiving.
Okay.
It's dependent on weather and things of that nature. And then after that, by request. I mean, if we have a nice day, you're in town, the tour's shut down, still get a hold of me on the website, and if we can work it out, and we'll do it.
Okay.
Same thing. It's like I say, it's Monday through Friday at 10 a.m., but maybe that doesn't work for you. Maybe, 1 in the afternoon or 8 in the morning works better for you. If I'm available, we'll work it out and we'll do it. Yeah.
So you're flexible like that.
Yeah,
It's not like if you're not here at 10 a.m., it's not going to happen. You're not going that day.
Right. Yeah. The main tour really is 10 a.m. And of course, that would be my preference just to do it once. Mm-hmm. But if that doesn't work for you, we're certainly willing to work it out.
Okay. Yeah. That's very cool. Now, these tours, how long do they run? What's about average time?
Yeah, I get that question a lot, and I can't put a real number on it because it really depended on how many questions are asked of me.
Okay.
So the more questions that are asked, the longer it takes. But generally speaking, if you have 0 questions, it's about an hour and a half. If you have a lot of questions, it's gone 2 hours, 2 hours, 15 minutes. It's just really dependent on that. And one of the cool things too, Justin, I hope it's okay to mention.
Absolutely, please.
I've set it up with Gino over at the Lost Colony Tavern because the tour is at 10 and it generally finishes between 11:30 and noon. Mm-hmm. Your ticket will get you 15% off lunch at the Lost Colony Tavern immediately following the tour.
That's pretty awesome.
So yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, Gino, I've spoken with him a handful of times about some different things that he's been a part of and to be with and to assist with or whatever.
Right.
And he's really trying to pour back into the community as hard as he can.
He is, absolutely.
Super fantastic guy. Now let me talk. Would you mind giving me like this is kind of an on the fly question.
Sure.
A lot of these questions I'm throwing at you on the fly right now. So where if people were signed up for the tour, they got their ticket, where did they meet you and what's kind of the path? Can you give me that?
Yeah, sure. We meet right directly behind where you're sitting. We meet at the Pavilion in downtown Manteo.
The old Magnolia Market.
Magnolia Market.
Got it.
We meet right there at the very front of the pavilion.
Okay.
And that's where we start from. And we start in the pavilion. We talk about generalities, the history of Roanoke Island, the history of how Manteo and Wanchese got their names, things of that name. I call it the generalities.
Yes.
Let's give you some background information before we start walking.
Okay.
And then from there, we head down Croatan Avenue. We talk about the Croatan Inn.
Okay.
The bed and breakfast over there, which was a Sears and Roebuck house originally built. And then next to that, that old house that was the Nathaniel Gould house. Mm-hmm. We talk about that. We talk about the sign that's out front and about what year it was actually built.
Okay.
We talk about the Tranquil Inn that was here originally, not the one that's across the street. That came 1987, I think it was.
Yeah, somewhere in
the
there.
The original Tranquil Inn was located where the pavilion is now, currently. And from there, we go over to New Vines, and it's I'm so grateful for Garrett over there at New Vines because he's not even open yet, but he will let me bring the tour in, and he gives them the story of the bar at New Vines. And so he opens the door for us, not even being open, and we'll tell that story. From there, we talk about the Pioneer Theater. We talk about the Dare Arts Building, which used to be the courthouse. And of course, we have an awful lot of information about Andy Griffith, too.
You wouldn't know anything about him, though, would you?
I read a book about him once.
Read a book, and it was by...
Oh, by me.
By
you.
That's
right. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Gosh, I forgot about that.
I want to highlight that. There we go.
Yeah. And then we talk, and I do a little, what I call my commercial. We stand there at the corner of Sir Walter Raleigh and Queen Elizabeth. And there's Downtown Books, and they have a book there. It's called The Complete Andy Griffith Show Guide or something like that.
Right.
It's written by, that's right, me.
Yeah.
So we do a little commercial about
Love
that.
Love it.
And then from there, we talk about the Lost Colony building. We talked about the Lost Colony Tavern with, Gino. Mm-hmm. There's some history there in that building. We talk about that. We progress down the street. We are at George Washington Creek Park.
Yep.
Yes. And we talk about the lighthouses. We talk about the 3 Confederate forts that were here on the island. We talk about the weather tower, the Alpheus Drinkwater Weather Tower. And then we progress from there down to the gazebo. Talk about Jockey's Ridge. We talk about how Nag's Head got its name. Talk about the Wright brothers. We talk about Kill Devil Hills. Talk about how Kitty Hawk got its name.
Wow.
Then we talk about the Elizabeth II sailing ship. And then we walk a little bit further down to the courtyard there by Kitty Hawk Kites and talk about the 400th anniversary that happened right there. And talk about the Coramay Bass Night Bridge.
Very nice.
And Roanoke Island and Festival Park, all kinds of stuff in there.
Sounds like you leave no mental stone unturned. It sounds
I try not to. But I also read the crowd too.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
Like I took this tour last year, and for whatever reason, they were like 20-year-olds, right?
Okay.
And I said, well, Andy Griffith lived here. They're like, who? I'm like, seriously? You've never heard of Andy Griffith? They're like, no, I have no idea who that is.
Oh, my gosh.
So then I kind of fast forward through that stuff,
Yeah.
But so, you read the crowd.
Yeah.
And then other times it's an older crowd. You spend more time talking about that stuff. So.
Well, and that's definitely cool that you kind of, read through and see what people are really leaning into, what they're not leaning into.
Right.
It's important in your line of work to do that sort of thing, and you got it dialed in. If I may, like, what's a common question that you may get from time to time?
Honest to God, a lot of the questions are about Andy too.
Really?
A lot of them are like, what was he like? Have you ever worked with him? That kind of thing. And I'm always happy to talk about that. And then, some of the other about the shallowness of Roanoke Sound.
Okay.
Because people are surprised to hear that, the average depth is about 2 to 3 foot.
Yeah, that's true.
Except for the channel there, right?
Yep.
And then they like to know about the kids that jump off the bridge too in the summertime. And then I get a lot of questions about the Lost Colony drama. We don't really talk a lot about it because I let them tell their own story, but we do address it and so things like that. Those are a lot of the kind of questions I get.
Very cool. Very cool. Because I mean, in a way, you're kind of advising people on, you're not only just showing them like the downtown and how beautiful it is here and talking to them about little historic pieces about downtown and the surrounding area, but I'm sure that they come up to you and they're like, where, if you were in Nag's Head, where would you go for lunch today? That sort of thing.
I kind of look at it as I'm kind of an ambassador for the area when I'm doing the tours because I do get a lot of that. Where's a good place for dinner? Well, what do you like?
Yeah.
And then, based on that, here's what I suggest.
Yes.
What else is there to do? That kind of thing.
Definitely.
So,
now these tours, you say they're roughly hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on the type of questions that are asked, if any questions at all. Now, what if somebody was like, hey, is it cool if I carry my cooler and a 6-pack in it? Like, can I do that? Or I know it's a social district down here now. Like, how can I do something like that? How do you normally go about when people ask if they can bring stuff?
But obviously, if it's alcohol, you got to follow the social district rules, which is if you go into New Vines, which we do, and you want to buy a beer or a glass of wine there, you can take it, but it's got to be in those pre-approved cups, right? You can't just be carrying a Coors Light with you down the street. I mean, it's got to be in one of those pre-approved cups. But if they want to do that, that's cool. And what's funny is we leave the Nathaniel Gould house, which is that second house over there. It's kind of like where Croatan and Devon come together, right? That big white house there. I always say to people, it's like, all right, let's walk back into town. And people are like, we left town? It's like, yeah, it's way over there. And I said, our next stop is New Vines because, I'm thirsty. And they're like, But I said, but no, it's like, seriously, we've got this. And I talk about that. We've got this social districting thing that happens in downtown. And if you do want to get something to drink at New Vines, I'm perfectly happy to do it. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you said that Gino in the tavern is offered 15% off now. You also kind of give some different recommendations for other places to eat as well.
I do. I do. Absolutely. I mean, of course, if they're going to ask me where about lunch immediately afterwards, I'm going to let them know about the 15%. Well, we just had dinner there the night before. That's cool. Here's the other places. You can go to Port Richards. You can go to Ortega's. You can go to Hungry Pelican. Whatever. Yeah, I'm absolutely happy to recommend anything.
Well, one thing that I find to be very beneficial for people that are listening that are considering doing this is the fact that it's like kind of like what we've gone through before when you were on the podcast back in the fall time. You wear many hats. You've written books. You've written a lot of historical books for this area. And you also do stand-up comedy. Okay, so you're guaranteed. It's more of a it's informative and it's entertaining, and you're going to walk away thinking to yourself, "Wow, this was absolutely." Now, I haven't done one of your tours yet, but I do want to jump in on one day and just just walk around with you one day and just hear, so that way I can kind of come back and be like, you know what, I did one of Greg Smerdell's walking tours in downtown Manteo, and let me tell you, if you haven't done it, you need to do it. I can't say that right now, but I want to.
I can say it. You want me to say it?
Yeah, you can say it.
If you haven't done Greg Smerdell's walking tour, you really need to. There you go.
So let's spin off of this. Real quick. So ManteoWalkingTour.com.
Yep.
Okay. And I mean, it's very easy to navigate. Pops you up on the home screen. And of course, I love, and I've got it pulled up right here.
Yeah.
I love you've got the little Meet Me in Manteo embedded video on like right there. Because I believe there's a quick little snip of you in there.
There is, yes.
I was looking at it a little bit. I hadn't seen it before.
Yeah.
And I was like, I haven't seen this. So I watched it. And they got a quick snip of Greg doing his thing.
And there's going to be there's pictures on there. There's going to be some additional pictures. I had, the town of Manteo had me do a walking tour for some of their visitors that had come in. I think we had like 35 or so on the tour. And I hired a professional photographer to follow us around and snap some pictures. So I'm going to be adding those onto the website as well. I just haven't gotten there yet.
Very cool. Very cool. Now I was looking at the tickets and everything. Tickets are $25 a person?
That's correct.
Okay. And you said children under the age of 14 are free.
Right.
Wow. Normally it's like children under the age of 8 are free. Under the age of 10 are free.
Yeah.
You broadened that out. I mean,
well, sure. Yeah. Because you know what? And I'll be honest with you. The business itself was started by Corey Hemmelwright over at the Bluegrass Island Trading Company.
Okay.
I bought it from him 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
And he started it at 14 as being free. And I thought, well, you know what? These are the kids that are in middle school, I think, right?
Right. Give or take. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're coming down here and they're learning history. So let's make it, because I know as a 14, like first time I ever came to the Outer Banks, I was 15 and I was like, oh my God, why are we going there? And so I know kids are like, we're going on a history tour. Oh, this is going to be horrible.
This is going to be horrible.
But, by making it fun and engaging and entertaining, hopefully I'm also teaching them something. So when they go back to school in the fall, what did I do on my summer vacation? Well, let me tell you what I learned, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think, if parents can bring older children, 14 and whatever, free, maybe they're more inclined to come here. Maybe they're more inclined to learn a little bit more about the area too.
Very, very awesome. Very awesome. I really like that. I like the way your thought process is with all of that, because honestly, like, you just don't see that. I mean, it's like you said, they're at that middle school age, and some of the history that they're learning at that time involves a deeper dive into certain areas too. So like if they walk back into school saying, hey, I learned this, and like, you ain't going to teach me something I don't already know, Mr. Social Studies teacher. they're teaching the social studies teacher something, you know?
I envision them sitting in class going, no, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Greg said.
Well, I'll tell you, it looks like, I mean, you've got a great, I mean, the website's easy to navigate. Now, what about like social media? You got everything rocking there?
Yeah, we've got an Instagram page, Manteo Walking Tour on Instagram.
Okay.
So I will occasionally post pictures from that, post some various different things. Maybe it's just sharing some of the other stuff that's happening in Manteo. It's not real. I'm not using it really often right now because it's the off season, but we'll start gearing back up again once we start the tours, and I'll start posting to that every day like I used to during the season.
Okay.
So yeah, find us on Instagram, Manteo Walking Tour.
Just went and followed.
There you go.
Just gave it the follow. Cool. Manteo Walking Tour.
And I just got the notification that said Justin Bateman.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, right there, Justin Bateman, Highway 345 South. Started following you. There you go.
That's
you did not lie.
Well, Mr. Greg, I appreciate you. Did we leave anything out? Did I forget to ask you something?
Can I talk about a couple of shows that I got coming up?
I want you to talk about those things.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of stand-up comedy shows coming up. As you might remember, I own the Laughing Gall Comedy Club with my partner, Amy Hill. Mm-hmm. And we've got 2 stand-up comedy shows coming up in the near future. March the 29th, that Saturday, we'll be at the Sand Trap Tavern in Kitty Hawk. We just did a show a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, you packed the house. I saw pictures of that.
Yeah, we sold out. Well, here's what happened was we set the ticket limit at 50 and we sold out. We had a bunch of phone calls, so we opened it back open for another 10 tickets, sold those out, and then still had 15 walk-ins at the door. So we packed 75 in there. We had a great show. The comedians were outstanding. By the time this airs, I'll know who the comedian is for March 29th. I just don't know at this moment in time who it is. But it's going to be somebody that is going to be very, very funny. And then April 5th, we have a comedy show as well. That'll be at Buffalo City Distillery, which is, what is that, Point Harbor, I think. Just across the Wright Memorial Bridge.
Milepost negative 4.5
like
or something. He's got the sign. I was just there the other day. He's got a sign out in front that says like minus 4.5 or something.
Yeah. And that's where Amy does trivia on Wednesday nights too, by the way, is at Buffalo City. But we have a comedy show. Suey's food truck will be out there in the parking lot for the comedy show April the 5th. And again, comedians to be determined. By the time this airs, we'll know who it is. And maybe I can feed that information to you and you can just post it on the website.
Absolutely. I'd be glad to do that.
All right,
I will say a little nod to your trivia games that you host up and down the beach. They absolutely love the trivia nights at Buffalo City Distillery, and that came from management and ownership. So,
cool. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I was talking to them the other day because they do business with us here at Outer Banks this week, and they're one of my clients, and I took them their numbers from their interface, which you have like a very small one right here, by the way.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Well, we list on the OuterBanksThisWeek.com website, we list anything and everything. Even if you don't buy, we still try to have like at least a little mini listing that just kind of gives a description. Make a long story short, I showed them their numbers, and trivia was number one.
Really?
Of the most viewed things on their stuff. So
very cool.
I just done, little tidbit of information for you right there. Because
that's Wednesday nights. Also at Wednesday, we do this other place called McGrath's Burger Shack.
And the food's there is pretty daggone good.
It's in the Outer Banks Mall.
I've been there 1 or 2 times.
Yeah, who's the host out there? I forget who's hosting that for us.
Gosh, you know what?
Wait a minute, that's you.
Ugly guy. I saw him the other day in a picture. Maybe I was looking in the mirror. Can't remember now, man. My mind's gone.
Yeah, you host the trivia night for us out there at McGrath's. Yes. Wednesdays at 6.
It's fun. I enjoy being there and doing that. And I tend to have a unique, eclectic blend of people that come through. Yeah. I've had some dance moms come in there before because Outer Banks Dance Academy is right next door. So it can get quite entertaining. But like I said, I mean, we got the comedy shows coming up. You said March 29th at Sand Trap.
At the Sand Trap.
In Kitty Hawk. And that's
right.
That's like milepost, what, like 2-ish or so up on a hill?
It's at the Seascape Golf Course is where it's at. Yeah.
There you go. And of course, Buffalo City Distillery, negative 4.5 if you're going across into Currituck and
I'm waiting on a date, but we also are doing another stand-up night at Jolly Rogers.
Nice.
They're just trying to figure out what date they want to do it. And you went to a stand-up show that night. Yeah.
Shows, that's one thing I can say. The shows are great. The shows are funny. And Greg works really hard with his stuff, as well as those that also come and do stand-up that he brings in. Great shows, very entertaining. You'll laugh. You'll have a great time. It's guaranteed. So
appreciate it.
I can attest to that. I'm going to look at your March 29th and your other April show and see if my wife and I's calendars can line up again to where we can get,
well, if you can't make it, send Carrie. I like her better anyway.
I hear that more often than not.
Every time I see her, dude, it's like, you married so far over your head. You have to know that, right?
I mean, I've been told that one or two times. I'm starting to pay attention to it a little closer because it's like, it's maybe these people aren't lying to me and they really are onto something.
You outkicked your coverage, as they say.
Outkicked my coverage. I feel like an Ohio State fan right now or something. I don't know. Well, Greg, hey, man, thanks for coming in and hanging out with me.
Thanks for having me.
Any opportunity I get to assist. Like I said, I mean, we were talking before we cut the mics on. Here in this area, man, it's like we said, the sign downstairs in New Vine says it best. A rising tide raises all vessels. And anything we can do to help promote each other and be there for each other and support each other, we try to do it. And that's the unique family that we have here on the Outer Banks and more specifically Manteo, in Roanoke Island. So
absolutely.
Anything I can do to help you, I'm glad to do it. And I appreciate you. Thank you. And I appreciate you being here today, Greg.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Coast Realty in Nags Head is your full-service vacation rental management company where guests become family. Born and raised in the Outer Banks, Brooke Sparks and Heather Cater bring over 40 years of combined property management experience to the table and are known to go above and beyond to ensure that your beach vacation will never be forgotten. When you choose to book your vacation with Coast Realty, you are choosing to work with the best local experts. Whether it's a simple getaway for just the two of you or the whole family, Coast Realty can easily accommodate. To see their properties and to book your piece of paradise, go online to coastrealtync.com. Coast Realty, we do the hard work so you can coast.
All right, we're going to jump into some events. And again, all the events that I'm going to mention can be found online at outerbanksthisweek.com. You just click on the events tab, and there you go. You can find them right there at outerbanksthisweek.com. I always like to lead off by saying, hey, make sure you're supporting your local high school and middle school athletics because we got baseball, softball, women's soccer, track, tennis, pretty sure tennis. Yeah, there's so many different things going on right now that are getting ramped up and geared up. So I would suggest showing them that love and support. They would really, really appreciate it. Let's take a look. It's coming up this weekend. Let's see. Friday, the 28th, last day of February. Hey, the Barcats duo is going to be at Buffalo City Distillery in Point Harbor starting at 6 o'clock. That's at milepost negative 4.5. I was over there hanging out with Mr. Buddy Byram just the other day, and I love it. They got a milepost right there out front. It says negative 4.5, but Buffalo City Distillery is definitely a cool spot. My wife went there this past weekend to a paint and sip, and she had an absolute blast. Let's see. And they're also doing a chili cook-off this coming Saturday, March 1st, starting at 2 o'clock. How awesome is that? Chili cook-off at Buffalo City Distillery as well in Powell's Point. Looking up down the line, Dare Arts has a lot of different activities going on, as does the North Carolina Aquarium. Bingo night at Whalehead Brewery in Corolla. Open mic night at McGrath's Burger Shack coming up on Monday, March 3rd. Town of Duck has lots of activities you can see. Shipwrecks has got live music coming up on Thursday, March 6th. Oh, and then, of course, there's my trivia nights at McGrath's Burger Shack on Wednesday nights. And I also do trivia at Wanchese Marina at 4457 Mill Landing Road. On Friday night starting at 6:30. The McGrath's trivia starts at 6. The Wanchese Marina trivia starts at 6:30, but I suggest getting there early because it will fill up. It has been filling up here lately, and people that have showed up right at 6:30 are left without seats. I can't hold seats for people. If you want them, you got to come down and get them early. It's just how it is. Looking a little bit more down, New Vines has got some different entertainment trivia and some live entertainment going on, as does Fire Tender and Manteo. Oh, the Stripers Chili Cook-Off. I'm hoping I'll have MJ in here next week to talk about that. That's always a fun time. The 11th annual Stripers Chili Cook-Off. That is always fun, and they pour back into the community as well with all of that. So, again, I'm hoping and praying that MJ will be here to talk about that next week. So many different things that are coming up. Let's see, March, going into the month of March. Hey, there's going to be a play at First Flight High School. It's called The Addams Family. Thursday, March 13th at 7 to 9:30. Let's click on this real quick. Is this a production that they're doing at First Flight High School? Stagecraft Productions is proud to present The Addams Family, a new musical and dark comedy beloved and known the world over. Yeah, at First Flight High School on Thursday, March 16th from 7 to 9:30. Might try to go to that. Other than that, you've got the Running of the Leprechauns on Saturday, the 15th, at Outer Banks Sporting Events. Let's look at that one real quick. Where is that going to start from? Looks like it's part of the Kelly's Outer Banks, the Kelly's St. Patrick's Day Parade, St. Patrick's Day weekend, because I'm willing to bet the parade's next. It's going to start at the Nags Head Soccer Complex on West Satterfield Landing Road in Nags Head. So that's going to start at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, March the 15th. Which leads us into Sunday, which I'm quite certain is the actual day of the St. Patrick's Day Parade. Pretty sure. I'm hoping it's not the week before and I'm saying the wrong thing here. Nope. It's definitely not the week before. It's definitely on the 16th. And, of course, Shamrocks and Shenanigans. Okay, that's going to be something going on at McGrath's Burger Shack. McGrath's Burger Shack is going to be doing that, and I'm going to have Chris and Ashley on in the near future to talk about the things that they're going to be doing with Shamrocks and Shenanigans. So those are just a few of the activities. There's so many more that are online right here at OuterBanksThisWeek.com. And as the spring gets ramped up a little bit more and we get closer to season, more and more activities will be popping up. So that's just to touch on a few of the things that are going on around the Outer Banks. And you can find them again all online at OuterBanksThisWeek.com. Click on the events tab, and there they are. All right, we're going to wrap this thing up. I don't know that I forgot anything. I do want to thank Greg for being on the podcast. What a fun guy. Like, he's really, really fun to be around. That guy, and he's very smart. He's very knowledgeable. He does his homework. He reads. He studies. And he's just a fun guy. So if you get a chance to do these walk-in tours, I haven't done one yet, as you heard me say. I'm going to do one, and I encourage you to participate and just hear what he has to say and just do the entire thing and hang out with him. You're going to have a great time. He's going to keep you entertained. I can guarantee you that. Next week, as I said a moment ago, I'm hoping that MJ will be on the podcast with me to talk about the chili cook-off. I'm thinking I've got her locked in to be on, so that's going to be fun. And she's a hoot. She's absolutely hilarious. So the chili cook-off at Stripers is always a great time, and I can't wait. I'm gonna be a judge again this year. So if you're bringing chili to the chili cook-off, you got to impress me and my taste buds, which isn't really hard to do, but it's going to be fun. So I'm hoping she'll be here to talk about that next week. Other than that, that's going to do it for me. Outer Banks This Week podcast episode 104, all brought to you by Outer Banks Pest Control online at outerbanks-pestcontrol.com, and all powered by Kelly's Automotive in Manteo and online at kellysobxauto.com. That's like a husband-wife duo right there. They're like the Manteo business power couple. They're wonderful people. Again, outerbanks-pestcontrol.com and kellysobxauto.com. All right, I'm out of here. I will see y'all next week. Woo, good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Y'all take care now. Bye-bye.
This has been another epic edition of the Outer Banks This Week podcast. Follow us on social media and be sure to listen every Thursday for a new episode.